morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is going to be a quick update for those of you who are following me on my trade. We're also going to be talking about a few targets that we can look forward to. Here we are looking at the Mango dashboard, which yet again gave us the call leading into this move. If you guys do remember from a few days ago during the live stream, I pointed it out to you guys saying that, hey, it's giving us the perfect signal, right? We had long trend across all the time frames and we had blue on the volatility across all the time frames. Now, however, things aren't looking as easy, right? I'm not saying the trade isn't there, but it's not as easy as it was just a few days ago. That was screaming at us. And you guys know, I don't often say that kind of thing, right? But back then it was just so easy. Now, don't rush into anything. Don't feel FOMO. All you have to do is take a screenshot of that moment back then and wait for that kind of moment to come again, because it always comes again, right? It's patience that gets people. They're not willing to wait. And if you guys go ahead and find that same kind of profile on other coins, it's the same trade. It doesn't need to be Bitcoin, right? You guys saw how easy it worked out for Bitcoin. It can be just as easy for other coins. Now, the current structure for Bitcoin is still looking fantastic, long across all time frames, and the volatility on the 2-day time frame is still looking great. We still have blue volatility over here. Remember, blue means volatility compression. Volatility compression leads to volatility expansion, right? And we're looking for that expansion, that volatility expansion, to play out in the direction of the trend, and the trend is long, so we can look for price to expand in the bullish direction. Let's move on over to the 2-day time frame, which happens to be where we have based our trade off. Now, I want to quickly go ahead and show you guys a screenshot from the Discord. And if you guys aren't on Discord, please go ahead and join. You can find us at themangoway.com/Discord. Okay, and here we go. I've blown it up so you guys can read. Now, this essentially was me posting in the Bitcoin chart section of our Discord, where I was saying, hey, we can officially say that the 2-day time frame read was on point. And the reason I'm bringing this up over here, guys, is not to say, hey, I told you so, I was right, look at me, I'm so smart. That's not what I'm trying to say over here. What I'm trying to say over here is that this idea of back testing and being a pure systematic trend trader has always it's not sat that well with me, right? Now, backtesting does help. It does help. I'm not saying don't do it, but do it for the emotional journey of sitting through a strategy. Because in my opinion, as a trend trader, it has been far more profitable to watch the behavior of an asset depending on the current market dynamics and adjust to that behavior. And back over here, right, somewhere around $95,000 to $100,000, I'd noticed that, hey, much like how Sui was following the 2-day dynamic trend so well, right, Bitcoin seems to be doing so as well. Now, I was already in a Bitcoin trade based off the 4-day dynamic back over there, right? Remember, we put our trade on around $68,000 and we were sitting based on the 4-day time frame. But the 2-day was being respected so well. Now, I didn't want to break my rules, okay? So I said, hey, I'm going to follow my rules, be disciplined, even though I know that the 2-day is breaking down over here, I'm going to wait for the 4-day to break down. I shelved that idea, waiting for the new trade, and then activated it for the new trade when we claimed the 2-day dynamic, and worked out. So the point over here is, don't be too rigid on your back testing, because what worked on the previous cycles may not work in the future cycles. Try to be dynamic and watch the market behavior for your particular asset. We identified that Bitcoin was trending on the 2-day dynamic and we took advantage of it. And look over here, guys. It was such an easy trade, right? We got we claimed it all the way back over here at around 89,000, but we were given so many opportunities to accumulate a position during this entire consolidation. Even right over here, when the market had the big scare, right, what ended up happening? Bitcoin held the 2-day dynamic, right, giving us the big sign that, hey, this is what you should be respecting as a trader. And this is not to say that we should only be respecting on the upside. It means that if Bitcoin lost the 2-day dynamic, that would have been a sign for us to exit with alacrity. We want to respect it on both sides. Now, because it kept holding, we were able to stay in the trade, got the breakout of this bull flag, and now we are deep in the profits. Let's go ahead and talk about targets. Now, the targets are a tad bit of a nuanced topic because it depends on where you took your trade from, right? So, for example, if you're going back all the way to our trade from right over here in July 2024, our spot trade based on this massive cup and handle structure, we had two major targets for it, right? The initial target was this red box over here, starting around $101,000, all the way up to around $118,000 to $119,000, right? We have officially met that target. Now, if we can clear this target, we can look for the second target of this carbon handle structure coming all the way at around $200,000. Now, again, I have a zone over here. The bottom of the zone is coming at around $191,000. The top of the zone is coming at around $225,000. Now, remember, these targets are only for this structure that we're looking at. If you go on over to our next tab over here, you'll see that we had a cyclical target that was drawn out all the way back in December 2023 when we drew out this cascading pattern trade leading into the equilibrium Ichimoku trade, right? Now, I'm not going to go ahead and rehash that entire trade setup. You guys can go ahead and watch those old videos. It's really educational. People thought I was crazy back then, by the way. I got a lot of hate for calling $120,000 when Bitcoin was sitting around 18K, 17K. So much hate. And I also called, by the way, for all-time high before the halving. Based on what? The Ichimoku cascading pattern play, right? Again, TA is your king when pertaining to mid to short-term moves, guys, okay? Your long-term targets can be based on FA, okay? I'm talking about 5 to 10 years down the road. But when it comes to midterm, use your technical analysis. It is king. More than anything, it keeps you safe, okay? More than anything, it keeps you safe because we had guidelines for when we were going to be wrong. And invalidations never got triggered, which allowed us to see this true. And hey, look at that. We're sitting at our cyclical target. Now, this is not to say that we can't have further upside. All I'm going to say is that based on your longer term plays, if you bought all the way over here, you should be happy, right? We've hit our targets. And hey, if you are deeply exposed to Bitcoin, maybe consider shaving some off. But we do have higher targets above that as well. Now, as you guys can see, based on these red boxes that I've drawn over here, around $150,000 that we can look for initially, and then maybe around, hey, 200,000. So we do have confluence between our pattern play coming in over here at $200,000. But there's more. We have another measured move based on the bull flag over here coming in at 154. Now we have confluence between all of our targets, right? We have the 154 confluencing with this cyclical target over here, the $148,000 cyclical target, and then the cyclical target, which has a move around $200,000. Now, remember, the main cyclical target is already hit, okay? These are just like additional targets that we can look for. These are nice to haves, but it does confluence with the cup and handle target over here at 220,000. So yeah, and before we wrap up, let's go ahead and talk about our 2-day dynamic trade. If you guys are in this trade with me, what's the plan now? Well, if you guys are sitting deep in the profits, you could consider shaving some profits over here depending on how big your position size is. Now, your position size should be relatively big considering that you had a chance to build throughout this entire accumulation zone over here, as well as the claim of the 2-day dynamic during this period. And if you're using the new feature of the Mango dynamic, the start and end bidding zone, there was multiple opportunities to bid, right? So if you had a deep position, if you had a big position, no harm in taking some profits. Now, if you did not have a big position and you had a okay position, there's no harm in waiting for price to either continue or waiting for a bid opportunity. And again, I'd be looking to bid, well, the 2-day dynamic. You could look to bid the 12-hour dynamic. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the level right over here. Coming in around 113, that's the start bidding zone. The end bidding zone is coming at around 111. Now, remember, that isn't your invalidation. Your invalidation level is the actual dynamic, okay, which is coming at around 112. The start bidding and the end bidding allows you to just scale into your position while reducing stress. It fits within our rules of bidding and exiting without having any stress. But the invalidation right over here is going to be 112. So if you get the candle close underneath 112, that portion of your trade needs to be exited. Now, I personally would only be looking towards the 2-day dynamic at the moment because the commitments I have in my life will not allow me to manage the 12-hour trade unless things free up, right? So you have to look at your lifestyle and put on your trades to match your lifestyle, which is what keeps it Mango. So yeah, the 2-day dynamic start bidding comes in at $110,000. So either way, it's looking fantastic. Your invalidation for the 2-day trend trade comes in around $107,000. Not sure if we get a retest of that, but if we do, that would be a big opportunity, especially if it's because of a market event, because of fears, because of tariff fears, because of war, etc., etc. Every FA scare has been an opportunity. Do not forget that, guys, right? Throughout this entire cycle. And hey, if you guys are looking to follow me on this trade, all you have to do is put on the trade and manage your risk. If you lose, you lose. Just wait for the next trade. You consistently put on these high probability trades and you capture these massive winners. And hey, if you guys are looking to put on these trades with me, do not forget that BitConnect is having an amazing promo at the moment where, depending on how much funds you deposit, you get up to $400 back, which you can use to essentially pay for your loss, right? It's free freaking money sitting at the corner of the room. And on top of that, you get to stack your trading rewards up to $500. So you get to actually stack up to $1,000 almost, guys. So take advantage of this. You'll find a link in the description below at themangoway.com/discord. And if you guys are enjoying these short videos, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to do more of them. See you soon. Bye.